Hi and welcome to this new video. I show you here how I have drawn a mouse in a live drawing session in my membership Animal Art Club. I show you step by step what's important, how to build up the layers, and I speak also a bit about the paper that is useful and what's important to create realistic animal portraits with pastel pencils. Enjoy watching. Below in the description you find all links for the materials I have used too, so if you're interested in the paper, in the pit pastel pencils and so on, just have a look below in the description. And now let's start.
First, I use a black and draw the outlines of the eyes. So we start here with the left eye and plot then also in a very dark base layer for the eye. This mouse has very dark eyes. And then use a paper stamp. You also find the link for paper stamps below in the description to blend the pastel pigment really very well, create smooth base layers. Then I add a little bit of blue to create a bit of a shine in the iris of that dark eye. And add some highlights. So draw again over the white stain and add then also a little bit blue. This creates also a nice shine in the eyes. And below then also brighten up the eye a little bit, the inner eye corner with a light gray. I really like for drawing smaller pieces and also in general for animal portraits the pit pastel pencils because they are harder and you can really draw fine details with them. I do the same on the right eye, plot in a bit of the black first and then blend it well with the paper stamp and add a bit blue for the highlight, for some reflections. We see here the sky and some highlights in the eye. Highlights are very important to bring your eyes to life and make them vivid. I also add a bit blue, that this is not only one color and only a black eye. Add a bit dark blue and then blend it together with the black again. And add here more, make it a little bit larger and add below the eyelids. When I move the hands over, I explain my students what we will do next. Here, let's draw the ears. I plot in a flesh color first. Plot in the flesh color and then also blend it again. Here I use a cotton swab or the paper stamp. I wanted to show you both possibilities. And then go over with a cinnamon, a bit of a darker flesh color. Always bring in different values into your portraits. Brighten up some areas with lighter colors here like ivory. And then also darken down some areas with a brown here. And then I add little teeny tiny little hairs inside of the ear. Mice have these fine little fur hairs inside the ear, so I move the pencil here with very little pressure over it and create a layer of fine fur hairs. Also, always have a good look at your reference photo and figure out where are the darker sections and draw them in. Most important in your animal portraits is always that you bring in darks, that you create contrast, so don't be shy to add dark colors and then also lights. So create that contrast between dark and light to create a 3D effect and make your portraits realistic. And then that you use the right values. Here I also use a bit of the cinnamon flesh color for the ear and then go over with brown on the right ear. What I always say I have, so a rule, start with a mid-tone and then blend the base layer and then go in with the darks and then add lighter mid-tone layers as I said here, start with a mid-tone like the brown and then go in with darks, the black here, and add a layer of shadows. And then the third point is then after darks go in with lights or mid-tones and brighten up the fur, add a layer of lighter hairs then on top. The mid-tone is here for the base layer in the face, an orange brown. So I have chosen here for the underpainting an orange brown. It is shining through the darker colors. This mouse has a bit so a brindled fur. And for the underpainting I have used a bit of an orange brown, a burnt ochre is it called, and plotted that in here on the face and then blend it always very well with a paper stamp. You need the blending after plotting in the base layer to avoid that your paper is saturated too early. If you're drawing on the Clairefontaine pastel matte paper, I use here the brown color. Then this paper allows a lot of layers and it is really fun to draw on that paper. You find also links below in the description for the paper where you can buy it. It is so worth to invest into that paper. You can also use now the Casson and velvet paper as an alternative, or use sandpaper for the beginning with a higher grit number. That I can also recommend, but that is not acid free, and the high quality pastel papers like the Clairefontaine pastel matte is really acid free and it lasts a long time, and that is important when you do commissions or if you would like that your artwork really lasts like it is for a longer time and is aging resistant. So don't save. If you would like to draw realistic animal portraits, don't save with the paper. It's so important to use the right paper. It's a brown ochre. Here I use a kneaded eraser for removing some pigment around the mouse, and then go over here with more and more layers of brown. Add some brown hairs here everywhere below the mouse eye. I also darken it down and layer here a brown over the very orange brown base layer. This is then only showing through the layers a little bit. You build up more and more fur hairs and fur layers on top, but the orange brown underpainting will show through. Here I add a bit of flesh color on top and add again some more fine little hairs on top as a next layer here. Fine teeny tiny little hairs on the face. Always make sure when you draw the layers of fur that you let them cross, that you let them overlap, that you let them go in different directions, and yes, that you always observe the reference photo in what direction is the fur growing and draw the fur direction correctly in that direction. Here I blend over and plot in a little bit more of the flesh color and make it a bit blurry. I wanted here to show that I have the digital reference photo always open on the phone, and here I go in a bit with orange brown and darken down the areas a bit with orange brown here, bringing in some burnt ochre little details, burnt ochre lines, and then again you always also have to go in with a darker color, then add a layer of darker shadow parts between the fur, darken down some darker areas with black, bring in more contrast with the black here on the middle part of the face, on the forehead, and just go in between the fur layer again with some shadow strokes. And also in that case of the mouse, black hairs. The mouse has here so a bridled fur with black hairs and also lighter brown hairs. Here I go over with some ochre hairs again, burnt ochre. And then I use a darker orange brown and plot in here. It's called sanguine, a nice orange brown color out of the sets of the pits from Faber-Castell. And another favorite color is ivory. I use ivory a lot. It is so a light yellow color, and you can use it nearly in every animal portrait when it should be a bit yellowish. So a yellow, light yellow cream, and it works for highlights really very well. I add here a layer of highlights then on top where the fur is lighter. There you need to bring in a layer of lighter hairs then on top. It's so nice to draw with lights over darks with the pastels on the pastel mat paper. And here on the left side of the face we need a lighter layer here. I also like to use a craft knife, a narrow tip, to scratch away a bit of pigment and refine your fur rendering. And then I go in with the dark brown color and add some teeny tiny little hairs too. This is a very dark brown, a dark sepia for the nose area, black for the nostrils. Darken it down a bit with some black little hairs on the mouse nose and blend it, make it a little bit blurry with a paper stamp, a blending tool. Here I go in with the black again, then always work with a light hand. Don't use too much pressure. I teach that all the time in Animal Art Club. I tell my members, work with a light hand, don't use too much pressure. I show them step by step how to do it, explain every step in detail. And here I go over with lighter colors like light gray and brighten up the fur with flesh colors and ivory. Yes, and then let's draw the rest of the body and these little small feet. I use again a brown underpainting here for the body. Blend it. It's a bit blurry, the body here. I also like to blend it with a cotton swab to make it smooth. And then I blot in here a bit dark where we see the dark sections on the reference photo. These are more rougher stains, not so detailed fur. I always tend to bring in details, even though the reference photo is blurry and out of focus here behind on the left. But you can add details and just go in with some thicker strokes and add different colors here. Here I add shadow behind the ear and then blend over it and make it again a bit blurry, but with the details. So not only a very one color stain for the body, add different colors. Here I then plot in ivory and color it a little bit orange brown and burnt sienna here below. Also plot in a bit burnt sienna below the mouth and add a bit shadow below the mouth. Always add also fine little strokes into the lighter fur and always blend over it. Remove grit, blend layers together, create soft edges, create smooth transitions and let fur overlap the darker shadow parts. I also go in with a dark brown then and add a layer of dark brown hairs from below upwards here into the lighter fur of the cheeks. And then go over with lighter hairs of the cheeks and let them overlap. Don't forget that. Always let the hair that is overlapping be more in the front. And here I then draw the nut the little mouse is eating with a cream and a bit of orange brown and ochre. plot in a little bit shadow at the bottom, a very thin layer. Just add a bit of a darker value and darken down the area below. I like to use pastel pencils also very transparently, like you would use watercolor with very much water and very little paint, and just layer over it with a very transparent layer that all the colors are shining through below. Then I draw the little feet with the toes and fingers. This is a little bit tricky, needs some small details here. I have plotted in a bit of beige red color, and then add shadow below them and between the toes. Go in with the black and add a bit shadow between the toes, and very important, below the nut and also below the mouse for sure, that we add a bit of floor and ground where the mouse is sitting on. Here I bring in a bit of a pink red in the feet and blend over it. Make it always smooth and blend the layers together. I let the black here fade a little bit downwards into the surrounded area, and add highlights on top of the little paws here. This creates a 3D effect. Go over with highlights and blend over it, remove grit. Just make it here a bit simple. And what I also add then finally is a little bit of a floor with some gray tones, gray values, and a bit of the brown colors I have in the fur of the mouse, and make some stains, blend it together, just create a bit of a blurry ground here in the foreground, and add some little dots like sand, also stains on a street, or make a bit of these small little dots with black and lighter colors, just to make it a bit more interesting, a bit like sand where the mouse is sitting on a path or on a way, and add again some lighter colors. Finally, I always go over the portrait and make some adjustments, corrections. Wherever I would like to refine something, I go over with highlights and lighter colors. And then don't forget the whiskers. Finally, we have to draw the whiskers this mouse has with a very little pressure and faster movement of the pencil, faster motion. And I like to correct something also with a knife and paper stamp. And let's add some of these fine whiskers on the right. Then finally, fine thin lines, also some black ones. The mouse has also black ones on both directions here. Go in also with the black and add fine hairs in black again around the mouse face. Make some overlapping fine little hairs and add here and there some little details before the portrait is finished. Yes, and then finally I always then sign it, and then it's finished.
Okay, so if you would like to join Animal Art Club, then sign up for the waitlist in the description below. I will send you information when we open the doors. It will be soon. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more videos. I would love to see you here. Write me below in the comments how you like the videos, and find all links for the material I use for drawing realistic animal portraits below. Then I wish you a lot of fun and enjoy drawing, and I see you then soon. Bye bye.